Today on How I Got Here, I'm sitting down with Amber Guyton, the creative and designer behind Blessed Little Bungalow. Amber started her career in corporate and tech, but realized she wanted a life that felt a little bit more honest and expressive. Amber creates rooms that tell stories, honor identity, and make people feel seen. Her work has been featured in Architectural Digest, HGTV Magazine, Forbes, and more. In this conversation, we talk about the leap she took and the world she is building through beauty, intention, and soul. This is Amber Guyton, and this is how she got here.
After almost 5 years of going full time, I still kind of feel like I'm just getting started. And
Really?
Okay, when are we gonna put our big girl panties on and hire a team and scale? And yeah, it was truly just a God thing. It was like, hey, you've been building this for 5 years on your own with 10% of your time. What can you do if you just throw your all into it? You go to some of these events and things and you're just like, I don't belong here. And one thing that a lot of people don't know, I think, is that interior design, only 2% of the industry is Black as far as interior designers go. 2%.
Amber, thank you so much for joining me today. Like I told you when you came in, I'm a fan. Like, I like to say that I do a little bit of interior design, even though I really don't. But your page gives me so much inspiration.
Thank
your designs
you.
are always just impeccable. And so I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Okay, I'm excited for the conversation.
Yes. So I want to start like a little bit back in the earlier parts of your journey. When you think about the moment you knew corporate wasn't your story anymore, what comes to mind first? What really pushed you to finally walk away? Because I worked in corporate as well.
Sure.
And one day I just walked in. I had a vision around what I wanted to do and what I wanted to start in terms of my company with PR. And one day I just went in and quit. I was like, today's my last day. I didn't have a backup plan or anything. So like, what pushed you to kind of leave corporate to go pursue your own thing?
Oh, man. So the intent was never to be a designer.
Oh, okay.
I was in corporate. I was working in financial services, and then I got a little bored after 5 years at the company I was at and decided, well, there's a lot of other stuff that happened. Went through a breakup, had an unexpected emergency surgery, was on FMLA, was in the hospital for a week, then I was on FMLA for like 2 months, went back to work and was like, nah. Because life. And then transitioned to tech, left San Antonio and moved to San Francisco. But when I created Blessed Little Bungalow in 2016, it was just a creative outlet. Like, I bought a new house, decorated it all in a week, and my mom and sister and family came to visit, and they were just like, girl, what? Like, we were expecting to box things with you, and they weren't expecting it to be all done. And then my mom was just like, so when are you going to do this for real? Because she always thought I was going to be an entrepreneur, and she always saw my creative energy and just thought that this was my path to up the corporate ladder and to be somebody's CMO. Like, she was like, okay, well, that's what she wants to do. She went back for her MBA. She's doing that, but this is what this is what she envisioned for me. So for me, it was like, I never took the full leap. It was more so, let me just blog about my house. And then eventually people started, like, I set it up as a business. I got the LLC, EIN, got the logo,
so you
photos
knew to do
done.
that.
Yeah, but because of my background in marketing, I was like, well, I'm not going to come out here. I didn't go to school for this one, so I'm going to at least look like I know what I'm doing. So I invested in all of that. And so long story short, like, it was always just a hobby and side hustle, and I was really comfortable with that. And then the pandemic happened, and I decided to move back to Atlanta. And the tech company I worked for had just IPO'd. I felt like I was in a really good place, but it was finally at the point where I was in a great place where I could work remote, West Coast time, work on my craft and business, East Coast time. Like, I had a really good situation. But it was truly just a God thing. It was like, hey, you've been building this for 5 years on your own with 10% of your time. What can you do if you just throw your all into it. And I think it happening during the pandemic versus me jumping out like immediately was kind of like, the world is falling apart.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with your life in the little bit of time we got left? And so that was when I decided, okay, it's time to quit.
The pandemic forced a lot of people to like rethink like what they wanted to do professionally, what truly makes them happy. So I could see that. I understand that. Because like during that time, I was like, I think I want to run or I want to write or do something like that.
A lot of people took up tennis. A lot of hobbies.
Because we're like, we all gonna die.
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
But okay, that's exciting.
Yes.
And it's blossomed into...
It's continued to blossom and grow. I felt like it was almost like a new start. Even though the business will be 10 next year, I feel like it really just... Sometimes I feel like I just got started when I went full time. And I think for a lot of creatives and solopreneurs, they feel like, well, I'm not going to be taken seriously unless I do this full time.
Yeah.
I have to put my all into it. So I feel like a reset button was kind of hit then. And even after almost 5 years of going full time, I still kind of feel like I'm just getting started. And okay, when are we going to put our big girl panties on and hire a team and scale? And yeah, it feels like I'm constantly looking at, okay, what's the next thing to make the business legit? Which when I share that with people, they're like, girl, what's
because
what's wrong with you?
I think whenever someone's trying to build something, they think they have these dreams of what they think their business and team should look like.
Sure.
And it's not necessary, I used to have this vision of like, I wanted 20 full-timers, I wanted big offices and all this, and I almost got to that level, and I was like, this is not what the hell I want. Like, it's extremely stressful, so I think you need to acknowledge the space that you're in.
Sure.
And the level of success and achievements that you've been able to accomplish to date, where you are and with the team that you have.
Right.
Because I'm like, you even just glossed over the fact that you talked about you designed your whole house in a week. Like, what? It takes me like a week to pick out some chairs.
A little ambitious.
Maybe even a month.
Yeah.
So you did the whole house in a week.
I was hoarding a few things. I had at an apartment, so I had a few pieces, but like I'm Virgo, so got the spreadsheet and like, okay, we're gonna do this and this, and had the mood boards ready, and moved in on the day I closed, and a week later, insane,
moved in the day you closed, and then a week later the house was done. Paint, everything, furniture, light bulbs. Oh my God,
all the bulbs.
That's insane.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, that's a sign. That was a sign right there from God, though. Like,
right.
This is what you were destined to
do. This is what you can do in your sleep. This is what excites you. This is what you would do for free. And I enjoy it. And I think the thing that's scary about going from a hobby to a side hustle to full time is the fear that I'm not going to enjoy it anymore if people are making me do it. Like if it feels like work. And in scaling, and even having the CEO hat on, it's like, now I'm in charge of people, and my success ends up being like whether they can feed their family or not, so I have to succeed. All that pressure and making payroll and...
You never go talk that. You worried about you crying. I might start crying because I've gone through all that.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think also like as you grow bigger, because you see like the Shay McGee's and the Joanna Gaines, and people are like, oh, you're going to be the next Black Martha Stewart. And like, well, Martha Stewart could cook. I don't cook. I be decorating, but I don't be cooking. But I like my kitchen and it's beautiful. But like that, people put all these expectations on you and say like, hey, you can do this. And it's great for people to be able to see that vision for me. But it's like, I don't want to have, or at least I don't think I want to have a studio with 40 designers in it and being able to design for the masses and these huge, like I've done celebrity homes, I've done work for millionaires and so on, but it's like, but my sweet spot, what I like are the little houses, the little spaces. What Andre say, little rooms, big things happen in little rooms. That's how I feel. That's why my business is called Blessed Little Bungalow, because I think you can pack so much impact into a small space. So like, that 3,000 square foot house is A-okay with me, right? And so there's this fear and mindset of, oh, well, in order to be successful, you have to employ a lot of people and be huge. But it's like, no, that boutique agency or firm size is actually, sounds like a dream.
It is. So talk to me about the early days of building Blessed Little Bungalow. What did those days look like?
So I was working full-time. I graduated from UGA with my MBA in 2014, and I moved to San Antonio in 2015 for a new job. I worked for USAA, and they have like an MBA career development program, so I was in rotations the first 2 years and before I landed into a full-time role. And so that was my career. Like, I had just gotten out of a super toxic work environment before, and then before that I worked in sales. So it felt like I finally had that six-figure big girl job, like this is it.
Yeah.
And so it was fun, and working in marketing, you know, you're creative to an extent, but it's still like financial services. Like, how sexy are life insurance and credit cards gonna be, right? So I was seeking, I think, some self-fulfillment and just my own creative outlet. And then also living in a new city, in a new space, needed to occupy my time. And so the blog, with the origin story I shared, like, I started writing. I love to write. And so the combination of being able to write about my home, decorate, and then show it on social media, show my home goods runs, show all the things that I enjoyed to do, like, that was pretty much it. It was like, I'm doing this for fun. And then I decorated one of my good friends in Greenville, South Carolina, him and his wife's first child's nursery. And I did that for free. And that was the first project besides my own home that was on my website. And then eventually what I call stranger clients started hollering. They were just like, hey, you were recommended in this Facebook group. And so it was truly brick by brick, like super organic, from having 300 followers of just my friends and family to now the 150,000 followers on Instagram, the YouTube. Like, it was all intentional, but nothing, I didn't want to force it. I never envisioned being an influencer, right? Like, having content creation as a stream of income, but it came with the organic following, the conversations. And more than anything, interior design is a bit of a stuffy turn off of an industry to me, or it was then, and it still can be. You go to some of these events and things and you're just like, I don't belong here. And one thing that a lot of people don't know, I think, is that interior design, only 2% of the industry is Black as far as interior designers go. 2%. It might be like 3 now, but it's definitely like very low. And then architects is even less. It's like less than 1%.
Oh, wow.
So when we walk into certain rooms and showrooms and High Point and so on, like, a lot of times we're the only ones there.
What is High Point? I see that a lot on social. What is that?
Yeah, High Point Market, the best way to describe it is like New York Fashion Week for the furnishings industry. Yeah.
Okay.
So High Point, North Carolina, they have roots in furniture making. Like, a lot of companies are headquartered there. They have showrooms there. So they have a week in the spring and in the fall that buyers, designers, makers across the world really come, and there's exhibits. You could float through showrooms. There's a lot of panels, like the one that just happened in October. I spoke on 3 different panels. So it's a place to get inspired. For me, it feels like a homecoming where I can meet up with designers that I've probably only seen a few times a year or just see on Instagram. And so, yeah, spaces like that, it's very few and far between as far as people of color. So for me, it's like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be who I am. And I'm going to shop at Home Goods, and I'm going to tell y'all that came from CB2. And if you don't like it, well, you're not my client. You know, you're not my follower. And so being comfortable in the skin I'm in, I think that level of authenticity is what attracted all the followers and the clients over time.
Given the demographic of the industry, and like you said, you're going to show up as yourself, right? Were you nervous or scared when you first really took the leap full time into this space?
Absolutely.
Especially as you were trying to define your aesthetic.
Sure. So we talked about High Point. Like, I didn't go to High Point until I went full-time or until I was about to go full-time, because I felt like, I think it was 2022 when I first went to High Point. It was after I went full-time, because I felt like, oh, well, I didn't go to school for this. I'm not traditionally trained in interior design. The imposter syndrome is like times 10. Like, you, girl, who do you think you are? You're a hobbyist. You fluff pillows, you know? And so I didn't take that leap. Until I took that leap, I felt like, okay, that gives me some street cred, right? That gives me some credibility. I forgot the second part of the question.
Well, I mean, look, I was just going off the cuff, too, because now I don't even remember. I'm looking at my questions on here that Keena specifically was like, you got to ask.
No, it's all
I always
good.
go off. I was just wondering, like, were you nervous or scared when you got into the space, especially because you just shared how white it is?
Yeah.
And then, like, you're coming in, your aesthetic is soulful maximalist, right?
Soulful maximalism, thank you.
So you coming into the space with that aesthetic, like, were you nervous? Were you scared? Like you said, you felt like you were an imposter, you're a hobbyist.
Yeah, all of the above, but I think my use of color, pattern, black faces in all the spaces, because if black people live there, we're going to show some black art. We're going to...
I need you to give me some art. Yes, but keep going.
Family photos, like, you know, there's so much of society that says your home needs to be a blank canvas. Your home needs to be beige and tan and not too busy or cluttered. And when they come, like, you're always, I don't know at what point it was infused in our minds as consumers that you have to design your home to attract the next home buyer. It's like, no, girl, you live there. Like, put those pictures up. Now, if you want to take stuff down when you need an appraisal or whatever, like, that's your business. But I am going to have a home that reflects who I am, that makes me feel celebrated and seen and safe and, like, remind me of my roots. I'm just a country girl, born and raised in South Carolina, and my picture of my grandparents on my media cabinet, like, that I walk by every day, that's going to remind me who I am. And so it's almost a tragedy, like, meeting with clients and people, and they just like, I just don't like where I live. I don't like my space. I'm like, people that are afraid to put a nail in the wall in their own house, you know, afraid of wallpaper and so on. So my hope is to free them of that, what feels like a burden, and understand that nothing is permanent. And your home should evolve over time with you, your style, just like fashion, right? So that, I think, empowered me to keep pushing and not worry about what, because there's enough designers to go around. There's enough aesthetics and things for people to like. Like, I think the minute you try to please everyone, you're for no one. And so I kind of just kept that in mind and know that, you know, I'm not going to be in, I mean, maybe I will be, but like Southern Living magazine and certain things, it's like, if my aesthetic isn't for that consumer or for that eye, that's okay.
Is there one project that you could say that has changed you or taught you something like you didn't expect?
Every project is just like, you know, there's no favorites. They're all my babies. But there is a project here in Atlanta called Project Rose Room. And it was the first time I had an interior design project where the clients were really just like, do you? Like, this is who we are. We called you because we love you. Here's a new build, blank canvas, cookie cutter, feels like we're finishing the basement, but the rest of the house is yours. And it was so liberating and freeing and such an honor to have that trust.
I was going to say, that's trust.
Yeah, because it's already a privilege to be able to walk into someone's home. Like, your home is like your personal space. And so to be invited in someone's home at all is a privilege. But then to be invited in to design the space that they live in. Because when it's over, I'm going home.
Right.
Like, y'all gotta love this.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta like this. And so that project, we did the powder room. It's called Project Rose Room because they were like, we don't want a formal dining room. We want like a ladies' lounge. And she was like a place that I can just
drink rosé
with my girlfriends.
Okay.
And so that was like the first piece that I designed, that space. And it has like magenta walls, and it's artsy gold and different patterns and jewel tones. And then the rest of the house just kind of flourished from there.
I love it. I got to see this house.
Yes, I think you like it. And they've had two kids since then. And so
Have you gone back?
I went back to do the nursery, and I'm about to go back to the other. So it's like to be able to, the biggest compliment is repeat clients, and to be able to be invited back in their home as their life events and life journey happens. So yeah, it's an honor.
I'm just thinking, like, there's so many people that start businesses and then ultimately the businesses thrive, even if they've not had formal training or experience in that space. And one piece that people always struggle with is like pricing, right? So talk to me about like how you were able to, like, once you started getting the calls from people like, hey, can you come do this room or come do this space? How did you figure out your pricing? Did you have a mentor that said, Amber, price like this? Or were you just like, oh, I could do that for $1,000, and then you get into the space and you're like, why did I charge this low?
Yeah. I think that overall designers don't charge enough. I feel like most entrepreneurs and small businesses do not charge their worth. A big reason for that, we don't track our time. I know I personally don't. And so when you really get down to the dollars and cents of every ounce of effort you've put into what you're doing and what you're building, especially in the service space, it's like, girl, you're paying yourself 3 cents an hour. What is happening? So in the beginning, because I worked full time, I was like, well, I'm just going to start with e-design. And that's still kind of like the foundation of my business. Like, because I was moving from Texas to California back to Georgia, I had my initial network of clients were like in the Carolinas. So I had clients in Charlotte, I had clients in Atlanta, I had clients back home in South Carolina. And so I would deliver the designs or mood boards virtually. And so I was like, okay, well, who does e-design? And at the time it was like Havenly and a couple different like companies that were doing it for like $149 a room. And I was like, $149 a room? That doesn't sound like a lot. But then at the same time, I was like, that's the starting point. So if they get a personal, like, cause they're just outsourcing whatever and you get maybe 2 edits, right? And so then I started looking on other designers' pages, and I think it definitely varies based on the location, but some people are doing like $500 a room. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't charge $500. So I started at $250 a room.
Okay.
$250. I was slinging
for e-design. Okay.
I was slinging mood boards for $250 a pop, and eventually, like each year, I was like, okay, let's go to $750. Let's go to $1,750.
But wait, were you giving them links to like what you were putting in the room? At $250? Girl, I would have hired you back then too.
Yeah, I gave them a spreadsheet. It was in Excel. Now it's in Google Sheets, and now it's like a whole other CRM tool. But yep, and then I wouldn't just give them what was on the mood board. I'd give them like 8 options
for $250. So if I'm like, hey, Amber, can you design my bath? Like, I want to design for my bathroom. You would give me the mock-up. You would give me the Excel link with all the links, but options for each.
But you're executing. You're buying.
I don't care. For $250?
I did.
Yeah, you weren't tracking your time because, like, you have to source all those pieces.
Yeah. But it was also, like, very basic. It was, like, Wayfair and CB2, which is the people I still use. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, like, I think the thing is, too, it's, like, now with AI and Google Images and everything, it's, like, people can just look and screenshot and whatever and source everything that you post on Instagram yourself. So I think in my mind, it was, like, they're really just paying for my idea. And then...
That was that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what?
Yeah. So now it's like in the thousands, of course, but it's also like...
Of course.
Yeah. So, but now it's also like me going to your home and, of course, taking measurements and 3D renderings with apps and things that I'm outsourcing, like there's a cost to all this now. I think the mindset of when it's a hobby or it's a side hustle is, I'm just paying myself for my own time. You're not looking at the big picture of the enterprise and saying, okay, well, your virtual assistant's doing this and your render is spending this, and this is how much you have to pay her to do this. And so I think, now the expenses are higher. So of course you have to justify that with the price. But yeah, pricing strategy was spaghetti on the wall in the beginning. And now it's like, because you don't want to charge too little because it's affecting the whole industry, right? Yeah. It's like, if I'm charging this and most Atlanta designers charge this, then you're doing them a disservice based on the value that they offer. But also understanding too that I was kind of building my own lane because I was doing almost like an e-design hybrid. Like, there's full service design where it's the true HGTV. You walk into the house and it's a true before and after. Everything is white glove from the receiving to the contractors. Like, you're just cutting one check to the designer. Here's $100,000. Have fun. I'll see you in February, or whatever the case may be. Whereas the clients are a little more involved. Although I'm hand-holding in some ways, there's a price to all of that, those differences. And so I found my own lane, in the middle, but every day you have to reevaluate price. It's not, I think in the beginning I was just oh yeah, I'll raise my rates every quarter, or really wasn't even every quarter. It was every year at first. But when you're managing your P&L and people and you have to be a lot more strategic.
Yes. Talk to me about going from those $250 e-designs to now having partnerships and would you say capsule collections with
licensing partnerships? Yeah.
That's the right language. Yeah.
So my first licensing partnership, I'm trying to remember what my first brand partnership was. Because PR, as you know, is a whole thing. And then there's the brand partnerships and there's talent and media. And it feels like it all kind of trickled in. But 3 years ago, I hired a PR agency to help me. They also have a partnerships arm that was helping me do things. But before, it was I'm just depending on my own marketing chops to say, okay, I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to do so in this reel. This is whatever. And then you're relying on the internet to understand, okay, based on my followers, times 4%, I should charge this for a post. So now I'm at the point where I'm considering ad agencies and, of course, talent management. I said ad agencies, influencer agencies. But in the beginning, it felt oh, you want to work with me? You want to gift me something? Great, and that's how it kind of starts with gifting. And I think on the interior design side, I can't pay my mortgage with a sofa. So, thank you.
Right.
But I have a sofa and I need to, so it was a mix of, in the beginning, free product that eventually evolved into, okay, we want to pay you $6,000 for an Instagram reel. And you're just huh, how many $250 mood boards add up to that? I'm sorry. And so understanding, okay, what is your time worth? And so the pendulum started to swing. I think after I went full time, especially, the more press I got, the more followers I had, the more brand partnerships that came. And then as far as the licensing partnerships, all of those came from, all of them were inbound. They saw what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
So the wallpaper, Mitchell Black was the first. Actually, no, the artwork was the first. The artwork in Home Goods, she followed me. She saw how I love to do gallery walls and artwork and so on in my clients' homes. And she was basically have you ever thought about having your own artwork? And so that was more so, here's all the art that we have that thinks in your aesthetic. Pick what you like, and then we'll pitch whatever to the buyer of the company. And then eventually my brand was in Home Goods and TJ Maxx and World Market. So that was
What did that feel
amazing.
like, though? Because, like, again, you started this as a hobby.
Sure. Yeah. The goal, when people ask me what my long-term goal is or what the ideal goal is for Blessed Little Bungalow, it started in affordability, but affordability means different things to different people. So for me, it was more so accessibility. Like, I want people to be able, no matter how much they make, to love where they live. And if they can't hire me, I want them to be able to go to this big box store and buy this pillow and candle and of whatever, of my aesthetic, and make their house feel a little more loved. So it felt amazing, but it also was like, could I ever do this on my own? Like, because licensing partnerships, I think, is a good toe in, and it's kind of like royalties. Like, you get a percentage of whatever they make, because all the work is on their end.
Yeah.
You're just kind of a part of the creative process. So once that happened, it made me feel like, okay, well, like, could I develop my own art? Could I start my own furniture line? Because I think the dream for a lot of designers is to have lighting, have rugs, have furniture, have decor. And so the wallpaper, Mitchell Black is a Black female-owned wallpaper company in Chicago. And they had maybe about 10 different collaborations they did with different designers and companies, maybe more than that. But I was just using their product and posting and tagging them. And organically, like, I'm a Black-owned, female Black-owned business. I'm going to support, that. And eventually they reached out after one of my projects was on the cover of Designers Today, and it had their wallpaper that I used in the project. And so they reached out and they're just like, have you ever thought about having your own wallpaper collection? And that was the most incredible experience with them, because they truly allowed me to come in with my mood boards and say, okay, if I do botanical, being from the Low Country in South Carolina, I don't want like random palm trees. Like, I want, if it's going to be a palm, I want it to be a play on this. And then if I do an animal one, my favorite animal is giraffe. So I want to have a giraffe print, because I feel like everybody has teddy bears and lions and with wallpaper, but I don't see giraffe wallpaper. So I had like a whole presentation of different ideas, which they loved. And from there, we kind of narrowed it down. I worked with the artist, and eventually we have the patterns that are available today. And then the bedding line that hasn't been released yet, same thing. You
just announced that, right? Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be on shelf somewhere soon. So it's fun. It's a new creative outlet. And it also is like, reminds me that of all the different streams of income or parts of my business, like, that's a part where I really get to play and is exciting. And so to be able to make room for opportunities like that is so awesome.
Earlier you mentioned that someone like had suggested like, oh, you're going to be the Black Joanna Gaines or the Black Shay McGee. Is the vision to have a full like...
I would love that. I would love to do rugs. There's a short list of rug companies that I want to work with, one specifically that's in the Atlanta area. Lighting, there's, for me, if a brand approached me and said, oh, we would love for you to design chandeliers for us, and these chandeliers are like $6,000 a pop, well, that's not... I'm not going to work, because my clients don't buy $6,000 chandeliers. Some of them do, but like for I'm not putting a $6,000 chandelier in my house. So it's like, it has to be aligned with values and aesthetics. Like, for me, I'm just about, from my clients to my contractors to the partners I have, are you a good human? Are the vibes good? Are we aligned in what we're trying to create? Morals, values, all of that. And then, am I going to, as a creative, have the creative freedom to create? Same thing with clients. Like, a lot of clients, they want an interior designer, but then they don't. They really just want a project manager. They want a yes man. And brands as well. It's like, I kind of got into it with a brand I'm partnering with about a pan campaign, and I was ready to walk away, because I felt like, why ask me for my input and how I'm going to create this, and you're just trying to feed me a script? And it sucks because it's like it's a brand I actually use. So I'm very particular and intentional about who I partner with. And because of that, you know, it might take a little longer to build the Joanna Gaines or Shay McGee or Martha Stewart volume. But yeah, that's definitely the goal.
Okay.
Have more products.
I'll look out for it.
Thank you.
So people see the finished rooms. They don't always see the pressure that comes with being a Black woman in design. What's the part of this journey that you've had to navigate quietly?
I have ADHD. I was diagnosed earlier this year. I kind of knew.
This year?
Yeah, this year I was diagnosed with it. And I think all my life, I have just thought I'm a busybody. I like to do a lot of things. I'm an overachiever. And it's like I've just been running wild in this world for 39 years thinking like, okay, I'm just scatterbrained and I like to, you know, so quietly between that and anxiety and bouts with depression, like you're not always on. And you have to, even showing up to this interview, it's like there's a lot of stressful emails and things that are, you know, in my head right now and things that I have to do. And I think as a creative, to be expected to turn around designs for someone when you just are in a creative slump or just not in the best headspace sucks. It sucks really bad. And then on top of that, I have to be a CEO and I have to be a creative director and I have to be like making decisions with my agency about what things I'm going to do. And this thing went wrong earlier this week. So I think you don't see that on Instagram.
Yeah.
I try to be really transparent about how entrepreneurship is not all the glitz and glamour that is portrayed. But at the same time, there's a lot of quiet battles that you're facing. And every day it feels like, you know what, maybe I should go back to corporate or maybe I should. Not in this economy, but you know, sometimes it's just like, why am I doing this again? Why am I so stressed? What is the goal? Because no one is rolling in dough, you know, like what's the cartoon where he was like, the room was full of money and he was like diving in the...
Isn't it Mixed Screw?
Maybe it is, yeah. Maybe DuckTales, one of them. Anyway.
DuckTales, yes.
There is no, like, I have not achieved that yet, right? So it's like figuring out, okay, like I think just having the courage to show up each day when things just feel like, okay, I'm in the red, or this is the first year that I have not been profitable as a business and I have all these expenses, and should I fire this contractor? Should I stay with this? Like the sticking it out is the part that's really hard, and fighting your ego and the fear in your head that's saying, I don't know, girl, payroll next month.
Girl, listen. Yes, you're talking to me.
Yeah. So
I've had similar conversations.
So that part is terrifying, but you can't really scream that. And even on social media, it's like you might have a awful situation with a client, or maybe a couple years ago, I had a bad client project that went south, like towards the end. And it like gut punched me because it was, like most of my clients end up being friends. Like the clients are, like we have a good relationship, and it went south outside of my control. And it got to a point where they were trying to get money back for work that I had already done. And it wasn't so much the finances that bothered me. It was just like my peace had been disturbed because it's like I feel betrayed. It was very personal to you. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is business. And like, no, like when I'm creating something for someone's home, and taking whatever idea out of my mind and making it real, like it's super personal. And so just the heartbreak of that, but not wanting to take that out on other clients or make that a reason why you don't take on more projects. And so, yeah, just trying to navigate all of those feelings and still be proud of the work you created. Yeah, so many silent battles.
But I think that goes back to like alignment, right?
Sure.
Like making sure, you talked about like sometimes you get in the space of where it's like, oh, do I really want to do this today? Do I really want to show up? And it's because you've built something. It's grown really fast. You've gotten like amazing clients and new projects coming in daily. And so you feel the need to constantly take on, but that piece of alignment and making sure like you're happy about the clients that you're working with. They make you excited about the project.
Right.
Often like gets lost in that journey for growth and success.
Right. And then something that some interior designers say is like, well, not every project is a portfolio project. Some projects are just to pay the bills. Some projects are just to make sure you meet payroll. Some projects are just like, for me to have so much of my portfolio online, it's probably only like 40% of the projects I've actually done, right? And so being comfortable saying, okay, I'll take this because I need the money, but also the fighting the urge to say no. Like, you have to tell the wrong things no because you need to make room for all the right yeses. And so that battle of, should I just, especially this year has been tough for a lot of entrepreneurs, but I think, you know, being an interior designer, like, we're a luxury no matter what you price, like, you're not a necessity. And so we're going to be the thing that's, even if someone signs with me, their budget someone in their family might have been laid off or something has changed, and like that'll affect the output of what I can do based on the budget I receive. And so like you have to be sensitive to all of that, but you still want to be proud of what you create. You still want to put your all into it. So I struggle with that thought of, oh, I'm just going to take this project because it's work and I need the business. Like, no, because it's not going to look good because I'm not going to have my heart into it. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel
Like you
said, especially given this year. What do you hope your legacy in design says about you?
I hope that my legacy in design shows people that you can create a space that reflects you and is not for anybody else but you. I think with Instagram and Pinterest and TV shows and HGTV, people feel like, oh, I have to follow this trend or do this thing. And for me, like, my home is mine. And I hope that I encourage people to do the thing in their home that makes them love it. No matter how much it costs. If, oh, your bedroom shouldn't be orange because you won't be able to sleep. Well, I like orange, so I'm painting it orange, right? Like, you know, just do what makes you feel good, because life is short and homes are expensive and you need to love where you live. And for me, like, joy is everything. And so if it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it, right? And so what brings you joy? What's going to make you happier at home? What's going to make you remember your grandpa or remind you of what you accomplished in life? Like, a lot of my clients are first generation wealth, right? Like, so they're spending this type of money that on their home that their parents or their family has never spent. And so let's be intentional about that. Let's do it right. Let's make it something that you can be proud of and wake up every morning and feel great in. So that's what I hope.
Because you live there. You have to love it.
Yeah. And I don't just change spaces. I realize over time, like, the work I'm doing is truly like changing people's lives. And so it's not just about fluffing pillows and paint colors. That's a part of the formula, but the goal is to make people love their home.
I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions.
Okay,
so I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind.
The person?
No, the first thing that comes to mind. So don't overthink it, okay?
Okay.
Your go-to color when you want a room to feel alive?
Pink.
Oh, okay.
Or yellow.
No, see, look, you can't do that. It's a quick fire. First thing.
Okay, got it.
It's pink. One thing people should invest in for their home?
Mattress.
Okay.
Sleep is... The older I get, the more I'm like, I need one more hour. And yeah, your mattress should feel like intoxicating. Yes.
Ooh. The room in your own home that feels most like you?
My guest room.
Okay. Amber, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Love the work you're doing, love your designs, and just keep going.
Thank you. Thank you so much.